So I'd like to Nils Sundsteigen and Sadler, and they are here to talk about how you can integrate the new VLEs and Microsoft in particular into schools. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you all hear me? Yeah. How many of you are from the UK? Good. And Scandinavia? And then, obviously, rest of the world. Yeah, quite a few. Good. We are here today, and I'm joined by my colleague Anthony and Michael from Microsoft and my good friend Steve from East Barnet School in the UK. And we will talk a little bit about learning in the cloud, using Microsoft Teams. I'm Norwegian, originally from the West Coast, so I know a lot about cloud, because we have clouds like 300 days a year. But when it comes to education, there is one person better than me, and that's my good colleague Anthony here. So he will take you through the first part of our presentation, and we will also ask you a few questions, so please engage with us on the Glitter app. Anthony, over to you.
Thanks, Nils. So, learning in the cloud, it's not actually anything new. It's been around for quite a long time. How many of you have had those kinds of things in your school? We've called them lots of different things over the last 10, 15 years. You might have had a learning platform, you might have had a managed learning environment, you might have had a virtual learning environment, you might have had a learning management system. They all basically do the same sorts of things. We just like to have lots of different names for the same thing. It could be that you actually called it one of those things. So lots of schools have had Fronter, it's Learning, Frog, so maybe you know it by that rather than by its acronym. But what did those things do for us? They did a whole range of different things, and they allowed us to create content, to publish it, to share it, to communicate, to collaborate, to set assessments, to set tests, and sometimes to then report that back to parents and provide parent information. And we did all of that in a huge platform. But what were the challenges of doing and using and implementing those platforms? If you've used a VLE, an MLE, a learning platform over the last 10, 15 years, what challenges have you come up against in implementing that platform? So you can now use Glitter, and we'll see your responses on the screen. So yeah, not a huge surprise. Time and lack of, and then linked to that, training and teacher skills. And I think that often relates to not having the time to train the teachers as well as the budget to train the teachers. And that's largely because those platforms of the past, and I speak from experience, didn't behave like anything else on the planet. So I used to work with teachers who would say, I know how to create a text box in Word, so why can't I do it over here? I know how to insert an image and wrap my text around it in PowerPoint. So why can't I do that in your system over here? Because they didn't behave like anything else we knew how to use. Teachers know how to use Word, Excel, PowerPoint, okay? Even the best of us, even Michael from Microsoft, probably only scratches the surface of the functionality inside Microsoft Word. But we all know how to use it. And so that's where the new cloud services can really help us to embed cloud learning platforms and the functionality, because actually now we can use the things that every teacher already knows how to use. So what does the future look like? Actually, what does the present look like? It looks like your cloud services. We're talking about Microsoft Teams and Office 365. You may have already decided, and maybe you're going down the Google route and using G Suite. But you're all making a choice around cloud services. And then you've got new communication and collaboration functionality. So from Microsoft, you've got Microsoft Teams. And there's loads over on the Microsoft stand talking about Microsoft Teams. And Michael's going to talk about Teams in a moment. So then you've got all of those things, but then you actually really want to make them fit for purpose inside the classroom. You need them to match a teaching and learning workflow. You need them to make them work for you. And we think you then need some extra services and functionalities that's not everything from your old learning platform, just some of that functionality to really match what you need as a teacher. So what do you think you want or need from today's platforms? If you've started to go down 365 or you're starting to use Google and G Suite, where do you think you go next? What does the future look like for you? And those would be all things that we would recognise, and I know Michael and Nils will reference as well as they go through the session, because we think that's what the new cloud platforms and new cloud services absolutely do for you. Michael.
Okay, great. So I'm Michael. I'm a product manager from Microsoft, and I work specifically on Microsoft Teams. So let me tell you a little bit about the momentum we're gaining with our product, Microsoft Teams, as well as Office 365 as a whole across the globe. So we have over 125,000 organizations already on our platform using Teams every day. Our product is available in over 181 markets in the world, in 29 different languages, and over 120 million monthly active users are on Office 365. So why I'm telling you this is the fact that there are so many people in the world today in their workplace using Microsoft products, Microsoft Teams, and Office 365. It becomes crucial for students that are graduating, moving into the workforce in the future, to gain these kind of skill sets so that they would become effective in the workforce as well. So starting young is very important, and with partners like Skooler, it enables us to have really awesome collaborative stories inside and outside of the classroom. So let's talk a little bit about Microsoft Teams. And we have 4 core promises as part of the product and what we deliver on. The organic nature of chat, calls, and meetings. This is skills that students already know through using a lot of consumer products, and we want to bring that collaborative nature into the classroom. Then there's the integration with other Office 365 apps. The things that we talked about before on the tools of Office with PowerPoint, Word, Excel, you name it. We're bringing all that integration into Microsoft Teams so that users using our platform will be able to get access to all that information that is for us to connect the connective fabric of all the resources together. And with the bolster of partners like Skooler, you can bring in additional course curriculum and management of assignments capabilities as well. Third, we believe that every group is unique. And the fact that they're unique, you'll need to provide them with abilities to customize so that they can tailor the experience for their needs. And so Teams have provided this collaborative canvas, which allows you to bring in connectors, bots, tabs, all of these kind of integrative components where our partners have been leveraging as well, so that other types of interactions and information could be brought into a team and a group in the nature so that it tailors to their experiences and their needs. And then fourth, Microsoft Teams is built on top of the highest level of enterprise security and compliance. We're built on a highly elastic, scalable cloud across the globe to ensure some of the things that we talked about before around high availability around the world to be there, especially when you might have schools that are somewhat distributed within a specific region and you want to have audio-video conversations. You can rely on the security and the compliance that we provide, especially in Europe, in delivering those services. And now I'll hand it over to Steve.
One last slide from me before I hand over to Steve. So we had a list right at the start of all the things that your platforms used to do for you. If you take away some things that Office 365 is now doing for you, all that communication, collaboration, publishing content is all being done for you. And so what's left is kind of pure teaching and learning and communicating with parents. And we think that's where Skooler and Teams together comes together. And now I'll hand over to Steve.
Am I on? All right, okay. Hi, everyone. My name's Stephen Sadler. I'm from East Barnet School in North London. We are a normal North London mixed comprehensive school with about 1,400 students. We've been using the VLE, or we adopted the VLE back in 2006. I won't mention any product names as such. But obviously, as the internet's obviously changed, as we all know, from how things were 10, 15 years ago to now, and the accessibility of tools such as Microsoft Office in the classroom, and the fact that it's obviously free for teachers, both teachers and students to use, made it sort of a natural sort of jump for us to look at products like Skooler to work with our establishment and obviously showcase to our teachers and students. So we are a new school that's been obviously, that's taken on the products over probably only the last couple of months, but with fantastic support, I've been able to sort of get set up very, very easily, and the fact that everything works in Streamline very, very nicely with Office 365. So I'm just going to show a login screen here. So this is our Skooler dashboard. Okay, so when you log into Skooler, you're presented with a dashboard with a series of tools here, which everyone's familiar with. And one of the reasons why we picked this is because we were looking for kind of a single sign-on. So we know that as teachers, we have to log in so many different things for assessment, etc., etc. But what Skooler has been able to do is kind of allow me, as one that manages it, to pull everything together. So not only can all the staff access all the web tools very, very easily, such as your mail, your calendar, your OneDrive, etc. But over here, Skooler have made this sort of area where we had our intranet before, where we'd access different things around the school. We've been able to sort of put that onto one plate, so to speak, and we can access excellent training tools. So if there are staff that aren't so computer literate, that need training, that can't always get hold of me or the ICT network manager, then they can access the Skooler Academy. In fact, I'll demonstrate that now. So, brilliant. Okay, so this is the Skooler dashboard. I've just switched from the tile view to the list view. So these are a series of exercises that I will give, or the staff a login ID, password, and they have to log in and go through as much as possible. So they'll learn the basics, really. So each content is probably about 2 or 3 minutes, but it gives them a very, very quick overview on how that tool within Office 365 used. And also there are some other mini courses as I scroll down. There's the dashboard, because I've deliberately not passed that one, so I do know how to use that. There's obviously information on all the different tools that are accessible within Skooler and how they all work. So going back to Skooler, you can see all the tools are listed on the left. One of the ones I've introduced probably straight away is the assignment tool. So it's like a digital hand-in folder. I can see some list of assignments, obviously, that have been set for students, and some that I actually share. I'm technology and robotics, but as I'm setting this up, I'm sharing assignments with the business studies, just so I can make sure that they're using things properly. And if I go into one of these, just to give you an example. So a student will be set an assignment, and then what happens is, very clever, Skooler obviously populates all the students' OneDrive folders with a hand-in folder with a link to that assignment. So the students then automatically get an email, and one click, and they know exactly where to upload their work. It's probably 3 clicks in process. Log in, click on their mail opens up, they'll see the mail from me, Mr. Sadler. That will take them then to a hand-in folder, and then they upload their PowerPoint, whether it's online, on their desktop, or whether they want to even add a link to it from their OneDrive. And then once it's handed in, I then select all the students, and then obviously I've collected all the work already, so it's ghosted out. And then straight away their work appears, and I can then click on it. And obviously in this case it's the students' product design work, which obviously I've got to go through, and straight away it opens up on the cloud. So it's very, very easy to use. It's very quick. As you can see, it's quite snappy, provided obviously you're on your internet connection, of course. If I go back to the dashboard. Okay. And obviously accessing all the common tools, it's straightforward. We've got Teams here as well. So if I open up Teams, that should open up another tab. So straight away, the Skooler link with Teams works very well. And what I've been able to do this week is actually simply set up all the different faculties. So computing, careers, expressive arts, humanities, etc., etc. I've got a group for the ICT network people, a Skooler ambassador group for all the digital leaders in the school, where we have all our information, links to careers, and obviously all the students can access this as well, and they can contact the careers teacher at any time. And if I go back to Skooler, I can just show you here. Oh, not ePortal. the next step is for me to take this tab here, which is a SharePoint built inside of Teams, but because it's a commonly used SharePoint, I've now put this on the dashboard so that students can access this straight away. So this is a typical sort of SharePoint template, just populated with some images. Again, it looks very nice on a student's mobile device as well, and just with one click, the students can obviously access information at any time. And obviously working with the careers teacher, I've just sort of been able to help her sort of set up a portal. So this is going to be like a standardized format that we will use right across the school for each of the faculties. The head of history at the moment, he is working on, if I go back to, have I got a minimal time? Okay, I can't talk too long apparently, but I could sit and chat to you forever. But the main thing is the link between Skooler and Teams, it's just very easy. And the fact that obviously everything's going to be laid out. The support as well is brilliant. I had a lot of issues before trying to get these tabs sorted, and just emailing the support guys, pretty much amazingly within like 10-15 minutes there's a solution to the problem. So help's always at hand as well on the phone, but pretty much most of it's done by email. And so if anyone's got any questions, obviously I'm sure they can ask the guys or see them at the stand. But as a product for teachers that are new to learning management or maybe looking at switching, it's something I wouldn't look at anything else really. Cost-wise as well, it's a lot more cost-effective than most of the other stuff that I've seen. And I spent about a good 18 months trying to decide what to move from, especially as we've been using the system for about 10 to 15 years. So, yeah.
What I wanted to show now, before we open for question, is Teams, the app itself. How many of you have used Teams? Raise of hand, please. Okay, so quite a few of you know Teams and you've used it. So one of the things that you said, which actually didn't surprise us, was ease of use was the number one thing you wanted from your cloud services or learning platform or things and devices you use. And what we see as well is, as a teacher, I need ease of use. I don't have a lot of time, and I need the tools and functionality I want to use to be available when I need them. So for instance, if I open up my computer in the morning and I go to my Teams app, which I have installed on my device, this is the Teams app. I'm here a teacher in a school called Green Abbey School, Year 5. So all the communication with my pupils, I do here. If I want to set them some homework or do an assignment, in the past, if you will, I would have to leave Teams. I would have to go back to my learning platform. I would have to create my assignment in my learning platform, send a notification out to pupils. Then maybe I went back to Team and I did some work there. And quite often you find that you log in, as Steve say, to a lot of different applications. What we've done inside Teams is something that Microsoft have allowed us to do. So when you go to Teams, you can actually add apps, or you can add functionality to Teams. You can add sort of spreadsheets or presentations you want your students to see. There is an app library, and if you scroll down the app library, you will also find Skooler. So you can add Skooler as an app or a series of apps inside of Teams. And what does that give you? Well, it gives you the opportunity to never leave Team. Even though you use Skooler in your school, you can do everything from within the Teams application. So one example of that is if I go to my English channel. In my English channel, I have added the Skooler assignment tool. So what this does now, it brings up all the assignments that I have given and created for my English class. So I can now go into the assignments here and look at what my pupils have done. I can open up the documents, I can comment, I can mark them without ever having to leave the context of Teams. That gives me ease of use. That gives me the ability to do what I need to do inside of Teams. I can even, if I want to, go back and I can create a new assignment, again, from the context of Teams. So I write the title, like this, I select the grade type I want to use, C attached, and then I add my the document I need the students to hand in. So what I can do now, I can upload from my computer, or I can even say, well, actually just use a blank document where they can do their work, and I publish it, and off they go. And as I said, all of this can be done within the context of Teams. What we've also done is that we have added the entire Skooler interface inside of Teams. We do this because more and more schools have started using Teams, and we do it because we have some additional tools that you can use over and above the Teams functionality. So that's a small snapshot of what we do, how we work with Microsoft, how we add functionality into the Teams application. So I'll just quickly switch back to the presentation. And I think we are ready to open up for questions.
MIS integration and how you get the data out of your MIS to populate schools and teams. We do MIS integration. We work with all the MISs in the UK so that you can take the data, updates every day, overnight. So if you put a new student in your MIS today, it's updated in Skooler and inside Teams tomorrow. But as long as you make the change in your MIS, we'll replicate it online. So as always, it's down to the reliability of the data.
So the question was, can you create a template and share it with the students? When I set up the assignment, if I have created a template in Word, PowerPoint, or Excel, when I publish the assignment, that particular template will be sent out to each individual student, and they just go in, do their work, and hand it back in again. Thank you very much for meeting us today. Pleasure talking to you, and enjoy the rest of the BETT show. Thank you.